slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Gonna learn the consequence of being incompetent. Mental health is confidence, dreams into modestness. I'm not here to save the day, that's for you to take away. I could play a million mind games, but instead I say something not illogical, something that is topical. Rub it on and watch it go, make yourself unstoppable. Dreams are irresponsible, but they're always possible. If you just believe, you could be so remarkable.
Thoughts in my head, a collage and they spread. I'll be great one day, going off of my meds. No, I'm not giving up, no, I'm not giving in. I will make it to the top, taking off in the wind. I gotta make it, I'm saving every day to taste it. I'm patient, but my mind, it can hardly take it. I'm chasing a dream that I've had for several ages. A vacant, modern kingdom for the taking.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
Coming from the conservative side. So we're going to prompt up Herschel Walker, or is he just too easy to control, or is it all in one? Now, there's some things going on in politics. We have the LA council lady who spewed out racial epithets, calling a little, black boy a monkey, and she would beat him. And this rhetoric that's out there, which we've already known that government is infused with white supremacists. It don't matter what their race is. You're either a white supremacist or you are in the support of the white supremacist system. This is not new to us, right? But now with technology, instead of people sort of claiming conspiracy theories or anything of that matter, we have actual proof. We have video and a lot of times audio proof. And it's laughable at best because it's not something that we already didn't know. We know these things, family. We know these things. I'm trying to start here really on a light note, but racism, a lot of us would like to blink a blind eye at it and think that it will go away. It will not go away. Whether you a melanated person making $25,000 or you're making $425,000. To me, either you're lucky or your time is soon to come. That's the way I can look. Everybody will have their white supremacy, racism, racist wake-up card, so to speak, where consciously, because this whole time you probably was unconscious of the racial bias and discrimination that you were probably even experiencing. Okay. So without delay, family, I was
Other
going to
racial
make this
bias
on
and
a,
discrimination
a
that
very
you will
lower
probably-
note here. But instead of showing you some funny videos here, I had some funny things to show you. I was trying to look for it on my Facebook here. I think I'm just going to go ahead right into the debate. It looks like I can't find what I had earlier. Let me see here. You get so many notifications, it's really hard to look through these things. But I'll get into the debate. We may take a break here, but family, even from the very beginning, because I know a lot of people in the media have been covering certain questions in certain parts, even in the very beginning of this great debate, Herschel Walker started to essentially attack Raphael Warnock. But we're gonna listen for ourselves. We'll listen for ourselves. I know a lot of you are getting yourself ready for the next week. You're meal prepping, you're watching football, you're folding clothes, you're washing clothes, etc. Hopefully you can hear me in the background, but let's get into it. Let's get right into it. Here we go.
Opening statements, a card draw determined who will go first. Mr. Walker, we will begin with you. You have 60 seconds.
First, I'd like to acknowledge my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. I'm one of 7 kids, born and raised in Wrightsville, Georgia. My parents taught me about faith, family, education, and the love of country. They also taught me about a good work ethic. And because of that, I found the America's dream. But this race ain't about me. It's about what Raphael Warnock and Joe Biden had done to you and your family. Tonight, he's going to try to sweet talk you that he's doing a good job.
He gonna try sweet talk you.
It speaks for itself. I'm here to tell you that they've raised your taxes, gave you high inflation. They even put men and women's sports. Now I want to let you know.
I'm gonna speed it up here, little family.
We give
inflation. We ask you to be specific. You have 60 seconds.
Well, first of all, you have to blame this administration and Senator Warnock because within 2 years, this inflation has gotten worse. They cut our energy independence. They also raised taxes. And at the same time, they reckless spending all our money. So you can sit here tonight and say that he's doing a good job for us, and you ask him what is one job I would do to help the inflation. First of all, we got to become independent, energy independent again.
See, family, what I want you to point out here is not truly trying to make fun of Herschel Walker, but his responses are not on any level of intelligence. Well, I take that back. He is talking, and we can understand what he's stating, but this is process behind it. Never mind. I'm gonna let it play.
We're going to our enemies to ask for gas and oil. And that puts us not just in an inflation problem, but it puts us in a national security problem. And I think that's something that I think Senator Warnock need to realize. And he mentioned that he grew up here in Savannah with 12 siblings. Well, in this area, most people live paycheck to paycheck. And when you have inflation the way he's brought inflation on, how in the world can you buy grocery or gas for your family?
See, family, one thing I want you to point out here is when people debate, and I've debated in college before, not saying I was good or bad, but he's repeating himself because he's trying to figure out what to say. And that's the level where you kind of lose me, where this is the debate for the Senate. And, there's many mock practices that you guys have to practice. And I'm just looking at a 60-year-old man, this bumble for the most part, and trying to attack another person for this particular Senate seat. And it's excruciating. And it's not really his accent or anything like that. You can just tell that he's just not a smart guy, right? And here's the thing. Do I believe you have to be smart to be a senator? I'm just going to go off on a ledge here and say, really, no. But I think you need to have a level of common sense. You can form a sentence. Like, you don't have to be, what I mean is super intelligent. Like, you score high on the IQ test, but is this somebody you want representing you? That's just the question I have. And besides all the allegations of, he stated that he never aborted a child, or he's pro-life and the lies he's told. When we really look at this guy, this in a general sense, is this somebody you will want to represent you? And I know this is in Georgia, but just make this applicable for any state that you guys reside in. And to me, the only difference between the two, family, is that Raphael Warnock can form a sentence. But he's literally, in my opinion, from all the information and evidence that they have displayed within media, he just a church pimp for the most part. I mean, what you may hear here today is they called out that he makes $7,000 a month from his church. Now, depending on how big his church is, you know, T.D. Jakes is a billionaire, so he's probably get paid way more than that in a month. But you will understand that he's a hypocrite, and he's also a Democratic tool as well.
A question to that, Mr. Walker. Most economists say that cutting government spending is the first step in economic recovery. I would want to ask you, would you consider cutting military funding or spending on social services to accomplish this goal? And you have 30 seconds.
I would not think about cutting military spending, because first, I believe in peace through strength. Right now, we're at a brink of war. And I think right now, with Senator Warnock, who he and Joe Biden, they don't show any strength. And we have to protect this country. And I said it early on, right now, because we're giving our energy up to our enemies that don't like us.
See, I'm just warming up, family. I don't want to get to the easy questions where it's easy to clown these two, because I told you, Raphael Warnock, he's not going to answer any of the questions. Herschel Walker, he's going to answer some of the questions, but you're not going to know what the hell he's talking about. Like, you know what? Let's just speed it up a little bit. Let's just for the hell of it, right? For the sake of media time.
I'm in my church who are trying to manage their diabetes. I've been there when they've gotten the news that they've got to get an amputation. And I think we're hearing from my opponent tonight.
Let me scoop this up, some family.
That prices of insulin are being gouged. I don't.
We're just going to do a rough run through of this because, I mean, this is poppycock.
Corporations that are being bad actors. They're seeing record profits in the middle of a pandemic. And who exploits a pandemic?
Gentlemen, we need to move on to our next topic in the interest of time. So that's election integrity. Tina, it's all yours.
All right, Buck, thank you. Senator Warnock, this question is for you. You have said the new Georgia voting laws implemented after the 2020 election create many obstacles for underserved communities. Yet there was record turnout in Georgia in the primary this May. According to research done by the Brennan Center for Justice, the African-American vote grew.
This is important, family. And I don't mean the information they're displaying for Georgia, but I want you to understand the dynamic here. You have two black candidates running for a very powerful and pivotal seat in Georgia, especially when they run for president in 2024. So that's why this is so important. Because if you are truly about what's owed to you, if you truly are what they call hashtag woke, which both the right and the left has demonized that terminology, but you now understand what's going on in this country and that you have been deprived of what your ancestors fought, bled, and died for is your reparations. But there's a lot of things on the table, but in my opinion, the two most powerful things that we need right now is reparation, and for police officers with our whole law enforcement is to wipe away qualified immunity. Two most important things, in my opinion. If you looked at my last video, I called out the Congressional Black Caucus and how they're for every community except the black community. But when you look at those other congressional sites like the Hispanic Congressional Caucus as well as the Asian, you will see they are solely focused on their people and their people alone. And I'm not mad at that. I'm frustrated at the point where anything that has a label of black on it, you have to do extensive research on those people to see, are they truly for black people? And constantly and consistently what we have seen is that it to be false more times than not. That is the problem here, even with this debate here. And I'm really trying to get to a point where you guys can understand what I'm referring to. So bear with me here.
It mentioned that he said that SB 202, really it made it easier to vote and harder to cheat. And she mentioned that more people turned out for the primary. So you gotten good in Washington not answering the question, but that was the question she asked you. And
exactly. So this is one of the few times what you guys are going to see that Herschel Walker is basically calling Raphael Warnock out, because she was asking Raphael Warnock questions and this dude was not answering the question. It was kind of like when people from the black community goes up to Democratic candidates, okay, whether it be Stacey Abrams, okay, or Jim Crow Clyburn, it doesn't matter. They avoid the question. They speak around the question. It's kind of like you speaking to your friend, your mother, your father, your uncle, your brother, your cousin, your sister, whoever it may be. When you're speaking to them, you ask them a direct question, or it could be your kid, or it could be another loved one. You ask them a direct question, and these mofos are, woo, they're beating all around the fucking bush about the question. And that's where Herschel Walker was pointing out. Then again, to me, both of these are just bubbling idiots. Is that one sounds more educated than the other, but they're both saying nothing. What is the problem, you say? What is the problem with this? They're both for black. So on one hand, you get a conservative fool, someone who's clearly incompetent to be a senator, or what we may think of a senator is and what they do. So basically, what we already know, family, is that they're going to put legislation in front of Herschel Walker and they're going to like sign it. He's like, okay, boss, I'll sign it. That's why they want him. Once they use his football popularity, they use his skin tone, right? Even with all the rhetoric that's behind this candidate, which all of them, I mean, Donald Trump got elected to president with all the sexual allegations of over 15 women, saying that at the time, Mr. Trump sexually assaulted them or they sexually harassed them. He still got into office. He still became president for 4 years. So the Republicans are kind of using that same tactic. When I think about Donald Trump speaking publicly, and when I think about Herschel Walker, at first I was like, there's no difference between these two intelligence. Is that one speaks with a white vernacular and one speaks with a old Negro back of the woods mentality that didn't have any form of higher education. And I'm not trying to demean the brother, but that's the way it sounds in my ear. But then I just realized, like, when I think about some of the things Trump said, some, very few, he formed a sentence. So maybe it's a 0.1 level up. I don't know, family. I don't know. And Work said both are too soon to be broken. Indeed. What's going on, Jermaine Anderson? Hope you enjoyed my money I sent you. We see Steve W. say that Herschel Walker did okay. No, he didn't.
President Biden won and Senator Warnock won. That's the reason I decided to run. Because we need a change in Washington. We need leaders that's going to stand up to foreign leaders. We need people that's going to stand up for people in Georgia. Because Senator Warnock, he went to Washington, but he forgot about Georgia. And I want to stand for the people of Georgia. He just mentioned he's standing for the people of Georgia. But can you tell me why he voted with Joe Biden 96% of the time if he was standing for Georgia? That tells you that he's for Joe Biden, I'm for Georgia.
See,
Walker, thank you. Now, before
it's
we
times
move,
like this. It's times like that when Herschel Walker made a point that made him seem more intelligent than what he is. But he did make a point. If you agree with somebody 96% of the time, you are a very close replica of that person. I'm just stating the truth. This thing about me and you was boys, if me and you was boyfriend and girlfriend or husband and wife, right? Whatever the case may be, close friends. And the only thing, I would say to any of, the statements that you make, the questions that you ask is yes, yes, yes. Oh yeah. Oh, got you, man. Yes, yes, yes. And that's what Herschel Walker is saying, is that Raphael Warnock is a yes man. But we know they both are tools of the system of white supremacy for their respective party. So it really doesn't matter. But family, here's the thing. I want you to think about this in a more national perspective. Don't just think about this as Georgia. Think about this relating to your state, because whether it be Democrat or Republican, white or black, they're going to try to speak to black people indirectly and somehow hint to the fact that they want to do something for us. And family, if you haven't learned in the past, 50, 60 years, that regardless of what Democrats say, regardless of what Republicans say, they're not going to do nothing for us, because they understand that we are not unified, and we're not using unification as a power in order to sway the turns, either red or blue or left or right. It really doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, we're still at a pivotal point as black people in America, as black Americans, as you as freemen, as foundation black Americans, in order to swing the tide in the political parties. This is the problem that we run into, because we believe, I'm just going to vote for student loans because that's personal to me. I know there is a black dynamic to be played, but I'm just going to worry about student loans. Have you got your student loan forgiveness? Because now that student loan forgiveness is now down to student loan reducement, but no one has really got their student loans reduced. And then when I read out the legislation for you guys on the government website, stating that those people who are in service will receive the student reducement first. People who are in law enforcement and the military and in Medicare, those are the ones who receive it first. Then, depending on your status, you will only receive up to $10,000 or $20,000. And then those people who probably live in a decent life, making over $125,000, you guys are not going to get it either. Okay? It says, give and lead us to a false prophecy. Well, thank you, Work. I appreciate that. Kane says, that's what I'm worried about too. Even if we do get into position of power again, when are they going to paint another target on our back again? Oh, no. Here's the thing. That's always going to happen. We have a target on our back since the day we were born, since the day our people, our ancestors landed in this country. See, if you just kind of monitor social media, a lot of you probably get inundated with it, compounded with it. You just kind of like, okay, I'm just going to take a social media break. But if you kind of just monitor it, black people are armed even when you're unarmed. Your skin is a weapon. That's how white supremacists think. And in this mass social media experiment that they project, they infect. See, the system of white supremacy understand that we have to create a disease. We have to create a virus in order for people to be fearful. So people who may not even really deal with race per se, but they still may benefit because of their skin tone, because of their race, aka white privilege, then you will soon understand that the system of white supremacy has done their job. And that's why people just call the police on black people. And then when the law enforcement agents show up, they automatically think that you're armed. So what I'm basically trying to say with that segment is the next time you vote, and we've been saying this for the past 10 years, ask yourself, what are you voting for? The one thing that the system of white supremacy hates, family, is unity of black people. Plain and simple.
Move on, gentlemen.
I'd like to respond to that.
I will give you that opportunity, sir. I will give you that opportunity, Senator. You have 15 seconds to respond.
It is very clear that my opponent would rather be running against anybody except me.
Boy, please.
There are only two people who are going to sit in this seat, either me or my opponent. And I think this race is about who's ready to represent the people of Georgia, and I'm thinking about them every single day.
But if he cut from the same cloth at 96% of the time, I'm running he and Joe Biden because they're the same.
Absolutely. I hate to say it. See,
Gentlemen,
I hate to say it, but he made sense.
we are moving on now. This next question, this is a yes or no response, and this is for both of you, Senator Warnock. Yes or no, regardless of who wins in November, will you accept the outcome?
Yes.
And Mr. Walker, regardless of who wins in
Yes.
November, will you accept the outcome?
Yes.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Buck, over to you.
Thank you, Tina.
You know, she was very masterful in what she said there, because that was kind of nip the whole Donald Trump era in the bag, where you're not going to accept the outcome after the election. So that was really aimed at Herschel Walker. I just want to point that out.
Turn now to the topic of abortion. We're going to start with you, Mr. Walker. A week before this debate, a former girlfriend made public accusations saying you paid for an abortion and that you encouraged her to have another. In an ABC News interview this week, you said that the accusations are, quote, all lies. For the voters watching tonight, can you explain the circumstances surrounding these claims? You have 60 seconds.
Well, as I said, that's a lie. And what most thing I put it in a book. One thing about my life is I've been very transparent. Not like the same. He's hid things, but at the same time, I said that's a lie. And on abortion, I'm a Christian. I believe in life. And I tell people this: Georgia is a state that respects life, and I'll be a senator that protects life. And I said that was a lie, and I'm not backing down. And we have Senator Warnock, people that would do anything and say anything.
See, family, this is why I kind of tell you guys, when I speak about religion, how people use religion as an influence. People use religion as a tool. People use religion as a weapon. People use religion as cloak and dagger. People use religion as smoke and mirrors. Now, his son Christian got on media and was spewing all sorts of things that Herschel Walker's been saying and pretty much debunking his lies. Now, a lot of us could say, well, one, it's the truth. It's his son. Two, his son is just trying to, destroy him because he wasn't a good father figure or a good father to him, or who knows the issues that's dealing with the whole situation. And of course, every allegation they have out against him, and as black people, see, a lot of times without hard evidence, so to speak, just like people claiming, we kind of get caught in the middle, like they could be lying, right? A lot of them are white women. They could be lying. He's a black man. He was successful. I won't say successful. He was rich. Okay. But see, and this is kind of where we get trapped. But the question is, would you want someone like him representing your state as a senator? We're going to get on Warnock. I have no idea why that's occurring. Let's see here. This what happens every time when you have the Flintstones running your internet service, family. I'm going to see what's going on over here, family. But nonetheless, this is what I'm referring to, because this Senate debate, here we go. Let me get it back on the screen here.
But I'm not going to back down, because this seat is too important to the Georgia people for me to back down right now.
You've been vocally pro-life, supporting a ban on abortions without exceptions. Would you support a complete ban on a national
Well,
level?
first
30
of all,
seconds.
see, that's not true either. I said I support the heartbeat bill. And I said I support the Georgia heartbeat bill because that's the bill of the people from Governor Kemp. And I said that has exceptions in it. I said I'm a Christian, but I'm also representing the people of Georgia. And that's who I represent. So what the people of Georgia stand for, I'm going to stand with them.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. Senator Warnock, you've said repeatedly that the exam room is too small for the patient, her doctor, and the U.S. government. We're asking you to take a clear position right now. Do you believe there should be any limitations on abortion set by the government? And you have 60 seconds.
I think that the women of this country and the women of this state woke up one summer morning, the core protection that they've known.
Okay, guys, listen to me. He said that the women of the nation woke up this summer morning.
For 50 years. It's taken from them by an extremist Supreme Court. And I stand where I've said I stand in the past, that a patient's room is too narrow and small and cramped a space for a woman, her doctor, and the United States government. We are witnessing right now what happens when politicians, most of them men, pile into patients' rooms. You get what you're seeing right now. And the women of Georgia,
Of course, you're going to have applauses on that.
a senator who will stand with them. I trust women more than I trust politicians.
May I respond?
Very quickly, Mr. Walker.
So, okay. Did you catch that? He said he trusts women more than he does politicians. Now, I'm just going to play around with this for a couple of seconds. Just bear with me. He's a politician. He's already a senator, so he don't trust himself. There's other women who are politicians. So you say you trust women more than politicians. So as a woman a politician, do you not trust women? Just a thought. I'm off of it. Just had to point that out.
You know, it is, and I heard about him. I heard he was a neat talker. But did he not mention that there's a baby in that room as well? And also, did he not mention that he asking the taxpayer to pay for it?
Oh my gosh.
So he's bringing the government back into the room. So he's not talking about that. So when he mentioned that, it's like I've not seen too many pastors that would say that statement.
Mr. Warnock, I'll give you a chance to rebut.
I am a pastor. And I have a profound reverence for life and a deep
See, this is what I hate. He's one of them pulpit pimps that first I am a pastor, and automatically you're going to get a lot of black people on your side, right? You automatically are going to get a lot of black people on your side because, family, let's just keep it real, regardless if you believe or you don't. You have been indoctrinated with your religion more times than not. Some of you may have found a Jesus later on in life, but most of you, I'm gonna go off on a limb and say 99% of black people in America have been indoctrinated by Christianity. You have been influenced. Your mind has been conformed, transformed, changed to think that that is the religion in which we should believe and follow. So automatically you have reverence for your shepherds, aka pastors, bishops, reverends, ministers, etc. You automatically subjugate yourself under their authority. Thus, it's a conscious, subconscious decision to go cast a vote for someone who is a Christian pastor. Think about it.
Back for choice. Because I have such a profound reverence for life, it's one of the reasons why I've stood up to address this issue of maternal mortality in our country. We lead all of the Western nations on that front. And black
See,
women,
you know, I can kind of go back and forth with this because it's important. It's important to go back and forth with this because Herschel Walker is pro-life. So if the female doesn't have Medicare or, Medicare insurance to have the baby, the government will have to step in and pay the bill. But they're also the ones who forbid women to have abortions. In Herschel Walker's case, he's referring to the heartbeat bill of Georgia, where there is some exceptions for abortion. Raphael Warnock is pro-choice. But let's say, for instance, the young lady or woman wants to have her child, but she doesn't have the financial resources to have her child. Who pays for that? The government, the state of Georgia. This is something for you guys to understand, that pro-life or pro-choice, the government in some way will be involved. And that's what essentially won't come clear if you really haven't done a deep analysis of this one segment.
Income. Now that's something government could actually do something about. And I joined with Marco Rubio of Florida to pass a bill to address maternal.
I believe Marco Rubio is a
mortality.
Republican.
Women of Georgia have a clear choice. As we're watching women die, do you want a senator who wants to control your life, or do you want a senator who wants to save your life? I want to save your life.
Well, what's funny,
We need to
man, I
keep moving, Mr. Walker.
have to respond to this.
Very quick.
Because he told me.
You know what? I got to respond to this one. That's a very important statement that Raphael Warnock said. He said, do you want a senator who controls your life, or a senator who gives you, choices in life? Well, and I want you guys to take this with a grain of salt. Don't think I'm leaning one way or another. But if a female has consensual sex, unprotected consensual sex with a male, she's already consenting to having that baby. Now, some of you may like, no, we're just having sex for fun. It was, no. When a male and a female has consensual sex, right? They're both in their right minds. Whether they are inebriated or not, under the influence or not, but have consensual sex, that both of you are in content. You're both agreeing to creating a life. See, I can understand both sides of the parties. I really can, pro-life and pro-choice. Let's just break it down very quickly. You want the government to sanction a death of a baby, a death of an embryo, a death of a fetus. That's what when you are pro, when you're pro-choice, you want the government in cahoots to the murder of a fetus, of an embryo, of a child, of a baby. Then, on the other hand, pro-life, the government is involved in that as well. Because now you're stating, because of the choices you made, we're not going to allow you something that's been in practice for 50 years. You no longer have that choice. Now, this just depends on your mindset, family. Do you believe that when you lay down with the opposite sex in consensual, unprotected sex, that you are consenting to having a baby? Because that's why we have sex. Now, even though pleasure comes along with that, but the primary reason of sexual intercourse is reproduction. Because of evolution, because of intelligence, because of the times, we know that more times than not, people are laying down with one another for pleasure. And that some people are not economically, psychologically fit. They're not fit in order to have a child. There's something to think about, family.
Matter. And if you think about it, Senator, in Atlanta, Georgia, there's more black baby that is aborted than anything. So if Black Lives Matter, why are you not protecting those babies? And instead of aborting those babies, why are you not baptizing those babies?
Mr. Warnock, or Senator Warnock, will give you a chance to respond to that.
See, this is why a lot of people believe that Herschel Walker won the debate. He made really 2 or 3 good points, in my opinion, right? That kind of put Raphael Warnock, and look at his face right here. It's classic. He's like, what? He put him on the defense. It's like, if you're all about Black Lives Matter and, one of the most melanated cities in America had the most abortions, and majority of them were black. That's what he was essentially indicating, right? Now let's see what Warnock says.
I have a clear choice. He says no exceptions, even in the case of rape, incest. Or
And by the
life
way,
of
family,
mother.
he's not answering the
I think
question.
that's extreme. It's out of touch with Georgia, and I intend to do the work that senators can do.
See, he didn't
Mr.
read
Walker,
the heart,
we've
he didn't
got
read
to
the
move forward.
heartbeat bill though. Wait, he didn't
We've
read
got
the
to move
heartbeat
forward, Mr.
bill.
Walker.
That there is that.
Hold on, he didn't read the
That-
heartbeat bill. He didn't read it. He didn't read a heartbeat bill. He didn't read a heartbeat bill. Listen now, listen. And the thing, family, I want to point out Warnock did not answer the question. He talked about Black Lives Matter. Why you guys are listening. I don't want to pander to you. I mean, not pander, but I don't want to commentate to you, what you're already hearing.
So when he
All
makes
right, I'm going to
a
ask you to
statement that
respect
is
Mr. Walker
untrue,
that we need to
and I
move
do
on, okay?
respect
We've
that
got
the
a
senator, you
lot
have to
to get
read
in
that
tonight.
bill.
A follow-up question for you, Senator Warnock. We asked that you take a listen to something that you said at a rally just a couple of weeks ago.
So women, I trust women and their wisdom and their ability to sit with their own doctor. And if they choose, to sit with their pastor. And to pray about that and let their own conscience guide them. Even God gave us a choice.
Even God gave us a choice. Can you clarify what you meant by that? You have 30 seconds.
Oh, I think it's self-explanatory. God gave us a choice, and I respect the right of women to make a decision. These are medical decisions. They're deeply personal. Women find themselves in a range of circumstances, and this issue has been far too politicized. We're witnessing right now the chaos that ensues.
Very, very good point there, Work. Very good point. I got to stop there. I'm gonna stop on this one. This is very good. Pro-life or pro-choice, intelligently pro-black. I want to dive a little deeper into that, because when we look at this, family, if you're pro-black and you have a child and you know that it's going to put you in a larger sense of deprivation, economic turmoil, then do you have the child? Is that pro-black, where it's going to help the black population intellectually, economically, in all sense of the word? Or do you know the more black babies we have will increase the population, thus increasing black power? Very good point.
And women right now who may be facing a miscarriage in some cases are wondering what will happen and how will they have to explain that. I think that's deeply problematic. There are enough politicians piling into the rooms of patients, and I don't plan to join them.
But just to clarify, in your opinion, God gave us a choice in regards to abortion.
It is apparent that God has given us a range of choices, and the people of Georgia have a choice right now about who they
He said, hold on. The commentator kind of caught him, right? He said, let's be clear. You're stating that God gave us a choice when it comes to abortion. God gave us a range of choices. Family. And he's hiding behind his pastorship, that he's a pastor. Because automatically a lot of us, again, I'm gonna go back to the subconscious mind, we don't believe that pastors can lie. You know they can. They're human.
should represent them in the Senate.
And may I have to respond?
Mr. Walker, we
because-
do have to move
Yeah,
on to our next
this will be
topic.
very short, because he's correct. God gave us a choice. But also within the Bible, if you read the Bible more, God said, choose life. In the Bible, it says, I give you a choice. Just like Adam and Eve had a choice, but they chose death.
Very
And
quick,
God said, you
very quick.
choose.
Mr. Walker, we need to move forward.
I think he wants to arrogate to politicians more power than God has.
All right, gentlemen, thank you. We're going to have to move on to our next topic.
Jesus
okay?
Christ.
Tina?
We are moving on, gentlemen, on the next topic, and it is about student loans. We turn to Christian Dent, a college student and Nexstar News Nation viewer from Locust Grove, Georgia.
As a college
Let's skip this one,
my
family.
parents are often faced with confronting the rising costs come with them 10 years.
Let's go. Let's move here. We're gonna move it up just a little bit because
brags about making $400 billion that now the taxpayer, all you in the audience, got to pay for. You got to pay that debt. And I didn't co-sign for anyone's loan. I hope no one out here co-signed for anyone's loan, because I didn't co-sign for anyone's loan. And it's not right, it's not fair.
Mr. Walker, we're continuing with a follow-up for you now, Mr. Walker. College tuition, it's skyrocketed, 175% over the past 20 years. What will you do to stem the cost of higher education going forward? You have 30 seconds.
First of all, what you should do is get rid of federal funding of any college that raised their costs. Get rid of federal funding of any college that raised their costs. That's the first thing that you should do.
So that is what you would do. We're asking what you would do.
Well, any college that raised their costs, I get rid of any federal funding that they're going to get.
Thank you.
You know,
I
find it interesting that folks are
Senator
offended.
Senator Warnock,
Yes.
I'm going to give you this one.
I just want to point out one thing very quickly here. This is what I'm referring to, that Herschel Walker made, 2 or 3 good points that a lot of people believe that he won the debate because Warnock just cannot respond to it. And basically on that last one, Herschel Walker was stating, I didn't co-sign anybody else's loan. What he's basically stating that is that when you go to school, and that's the way, one of the traditional ways in order for you to get a job that you can really get a pretty nice salary from, that you can live off of, you can retire off of. And he's basically stating that you made that conscious decision. Now, if you notice, conservatives are basically about conscious decisions, right? Oh, we're pro-life. You made a decision to sleep down, have a baby. You had sex unprotected. Then he was stating that I didn't co-sign your loan. You went and signed that loan yourself. And now you're asking the government to forgive your loan that you signed yourself. And we know in this very white supremacist society that they made education so expensive that only certain people could attend school, or if they will allow you to go to school for you to take out a loan, that you'll be paying the government back with interest almost in perpetuity, like infinity, until the day that you die, because they didn't put a cap on how much schools can essentially charge students. But then on the other hand, the colleges and universities have a very valid argument saying that inflation, and not just this year, like over the course of time, things are more expensive than they was back in the 60s or the 70s or the 80s, that every year we have to increase costs in order to pay for the college and universities, whatever it may be, the utility bills, the professors, everything that's included with colleges and universities. And then a lot of these colleges are making millions dollars a year. And then the contrasting argument of people saying that teachers should get paid more. And then when they do get paid more, oh, well, that's too much. I make it very simple here, family. I make it very simple here. Reparations, wipe away qualified immunity, Black empowerment. And don't forget, family, Tariq Nasheed is holding a rally on November 5th in Washington, D.C. There's a lot of flyers floating around. See if you can find that flyer somewhere. But I think that we all should attend. I'm originally from Washington, D.C. It's just a matter of me having the ability, because of time constraints and also my schedule, to actually go. But I really want to go, and I'm planning to go in a sense. And hopefully I can stream live from that event if I do go. But nonetheless, I just wanted to put those things into perspective for you guys.
I'm going to give you a pass for 15 seconds.
I will be very brief, I promise.
Very brief.
It's interesting to me that folks who have been crying about the student debt relief haven't said anything about multi-billionaire corporate entities.
Again, Raphael Warnock not answering the question.
I wonder why Mr.
We're going to
Walker has
move
not really
on.
about
We're
that.
moving on.
Well,
Thank
that
you.
is
Thank
good
you, Senator
because he got a
Warnock.
PPP
Your
loan
time
as
is up.
well.
Mr. Walker, we are moving on.
Yeah, your
We're going to
church
move
got
on to
one,
minimum
too.
wage, gentlemen. We have a
Yes.
lot to get through
Yes.
tonight. We've made that clear. at
Let
the
me
top of the
move this
hour.
along,
So
family.
let's get as many questions as we can in because Georgia voters want to know where you stand on.
Move this along.
No,
Look at
he
this.
wants the federal government to run your life. Right now, I think you have to work with different corporations to see just where they can pay. There are some companies right now, and he should know this, after getting the All-Star game moved out of Atlanta, they destroyed a lot of small businesses. Well, those small businesses couldn't pay $15, $20 an hour. So they have to pay what they're capable
Now,
of.
this kind of makes me think of when you speak about minimum wages, we talk about inflation. Did you know they did a survey? They did a large survey. I don't know if it was Pew Research. I forgot who it was, or Harvard Research. Some large survey organization created a survey and asked a number of questions that was conservative led, and they only gave it to Black people. And did you know over 85% to 90% by Black people answering these questions that we are conservative? I'm not stating that I am because I'm apolitical, but meaning I don't swing one way or another. But Black people were conservative naturally, especially Black people who were working for corporations and organizations because they always wanted to run their own business. And have you seen, when we look at 87% of Black people voted for Joe Biden, so the other 13% that voted for Donald Trump, especially in the second election. That 13% were probably business owners. And the 87% were probably inspired business owners who did not start their business yet. And I'm not stating that Black people should vote Republican. I'm not stating that at all. You know where I stand at, family. It don't matter what party it is, Green Party, Black Party, White Party, the conservatives, the liberals, the Republicans, the Democrats, whoever's going to cut the check. But here's the thing, family. Don't give away your power, which is your vote, until you have a clear, concise, I'm going to assign an executive order to give foundational Black Americans reparations. And is laid out verbatim within that executive order what it is, what it entails. But the first thing that you know we want is cut the check. I see you, Thompson Chomp, and also Bionic Woman, Jay the Informant, and also Kane. I see you guys. Welcome.
So to mandate a federal fee that they have to pay hourly wage, no, I couldn't approve that.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. Senator Warnock, you did not raise your hand, so why not? And what would you do to help struggling Georgians?
I believe in the dignity of work, and I believe in the dignity of workers. Watch my dad work really hard to take care of his family.
Here we go.
And I've seen what we call essential workers, these folks who are on the front line, stand up for us in the midst of the pandemic.
Here we go. Let's go here.
Should
We're just skipping around, family.
To solve this issue, you have to answer this question, sir, and I give you 1 minute.
Well, I'm glad that we finally passed the first gun safety law in 30 years. And we did that on a bipartisan basis. I believe that this.
And here's the thing with politics too, family. The whole smoke and mirrors saying they passed a gun safety law, and basically it's a nothing burger. There's nothing in the law that really prevents people from buying semi-automatic weapons or anything of that nature. And I know that people who are pro-gun and pro-Second Amendment, I understand. And me as a former military member, I look at these things and semi-automatic weapons should not be in the hands of the regular citizens of a nation. That's just my opinion. The amount of damage someone can do with a semi-automatic weapon. And if you believe I'm siding with the Democrats, absolutely not. Because again, the bill that they actually put into law is a nothing burger. People can still have, certain people can have semi-automatic weapons. But nonetheless, the gun problem in America will not be solved by legislation written by either party. And that's why we have to understand that we live in a republic. But you will hear the word democracy all the time. And again, some people believe we live in a democratic republic. And for the sake, yeah, we do. We do. We live in a democratic republic. Okay.
Law will indeed save lives. And I'd like to see us work and see what we can achieve beyond that on a bipartisan basis. My heart goes out when I see kinds of tragedies that we're witnessing all across our state, all across our country. And it's the reason why I have passed legislation to support law enforcement. I passed the largest investment in the COPS program in a decade. I introduced legislation called Invest to Protect that's endorsed by the sheriffs of Burke County and Scriven County because it supports some of our smaller law enforcement entities. We got to stand up with law enforcement. We've also got to create opportunity.
That part right there, family. So when we think about conservatives, when we think about Republicans, we think that they are pro-police. But right there in a couple of seconds, Senator Warnock, which is the Democrat, stated that he's pro-police, that we need to stand up with the police. So do you believe that pro-police Democrats and pro-police conservatives will wipe away qualified immunity? That's why your sisters and brothers and cousins, mothers and fathers and children are being killed in the streets. And it don't matter what party you vote for, because none of them have wiping out qualified immunity for the police. Now, what's occurring in the streets is that a lot of white Hispanics and also white people are now being wronged by the police, because the police seems as though they have unlimited power, that they can kill and torture people, especially black people, with impunity. And none of them have it on the table. Both of them support the police. None of them state, well, I support the system of law enforcement, but I'm putting in a bill to wipe away qualified immunity for the state of Georgia. You haven't heard that, right? Because both of them are pro-police. I keep telling you, the Democrats and Republicans, in my opinion, are very much the same, especially in the system of white supremacy. They just two different wings.
Thank you. Mr. Walker, we're posing the same question to you, sir. In 1 minute, what should the next step be to solve gun violence?
Well, first of all, any law or bill passed that affect anyone's Second Amendment, I'm not going to stand for and I won't support. But third, to hear Senator Warnock talks about supporting law enforcement is sad.
Here we go.
He's called them names, and because of the name calling he's done, the morale is down, recruitment is down, only because of what he's done. He's empowered criminals to think they're better than police. And because he believes in no cash bail, releasing prisoners, he don't protect the border. Fentanyl is coming to this country and also into Atlanta. 70% of the drugs coming from the border goes to Atlanta, Georgia. And he talks about
right there, family.
Police. I have more sheriff that has endorsed me than anyone running.
Everybody knows that in this white society that we live in, that when you use the word Atlanta, Georgia, Baltimore, it is a code word for black people. And this is how he's being used by his puppet masters. Soon as he said that majority of the drugs go to Atlanta, Georgia, he is already stating that black people are the ones selling the drugs and also using the drugs. This is how this tool, which is already broken in my opinion, is being used.
In Georgia right now. And I even have some sheriffs here, they've endorsed me because they know I have their back, they're gonna have my back. So to listen to him say that after calling them name, I think it's a disgrace.
Mr. Walker, thank you. I have a follow-up now for both of you.
I think
hold on, here we go, family.
I will give you the opportunity, 15 seconds to respond, Senator Warnock.
We will see time and time again tonight, as we've already seen, that my opponent has a problem with the truth. And just because he said something doesn't mean it's true. I have supported
You too,
our police
Raphael.
officers. I've called them and I've prayed with their families, like those officers lost in Cobb County when they were killed, doing what police officers routinely do. You can support police officers, as I've done, through the COPS program, through the Invest to Protect program, while at the same time holding police officers, like all professions, accountable. One thing I have not done, I've never pretended to be a police officer.
A straight attack.
And I've never threatened a shootout with the police.
Oh no. No, he didn't. Family. Herschel Walker is going to his jacket. He's going to pull out that fake ass badge that they give to school students when they do the police academy. Lord have mercy on my soul. I'm going to take a break, family. I'm going to read some of your comments here. I can't do it because Raphael Warnock did a straight attack on Herschel Walker, say, I've never pretended to be a police officer, and look right at him. I got Stonks and Chunks in the room. Much love to you as well. Let's see what Jay the Informant says. Bionic Woman says, the problem is sometimes women have issues where they can't have the baby, or they have medical issues, or the baby is going to die. Why go through a headache of having the baby? Okay. Very good point there. There's a Kennedy running against Sheila Jackson Lee. I believe he's a reparationist, and I got to look into that guy. He's in Houston with me. Okay, you in Houston, I'm in the Dallas area. Stonson Chomp, he said, I have a friend that is working on a blockchain-based voting system for the U.S. government. Man, they're going to make money off of voting. They are, well, let me disregard my last statement. They are making money off of voting, so that only makes sense, okay? He also states that a semi-automatic weapon literally means the weapon can only be fired as fast as you can pull the trigger, one bullet for every finger pull. Traditionally and technically that is true, but they're talking about semi-automatic weapons with high capacity round count that you can essentially change the mechanism or do alteration to make it fully automatic. He also states here, please do more research about weapons before you speak about regulating them. As someone who knows the atrocities our government is capable of, if we the people can't have it, neither should the government. And that's what a lot of people are saying, that the Second Amendment, if you read the Constitution in its entirety, is that basically giving the people protection against the government, especially with Second Amendment. So he made a really good point there that the people should have semi-automatic weapons as well, because the government has them too. So if the government ever enacts martial law on a federal level, then the people, if it's unjustly done, wrongly done, we have the ability, we have the power, we have the firearms in order to combat the government. Okay, good point. Can't disagree with that. Shirley says, Black men and women in Georgia is dumb and illiterate as Herschel Walker. No wonder why white people love using Georgia Black people, because they still scared of white people. Jump, Negro, jump. That's what she said. Kane says the whole gun trace task force ordeal that went down a few years ago leaves me no faith to the police. We got Wendell in the room. Nice to see you, brother. Good afternoon, Focus Williams. So there's a lot to be said here, family. I'm gonna let this continue. Give me a second.
Respond to that.
We are moving on,
I have to
gentlemen.
respond to that. And you know what's so funny? I am with many police officers, and at the same
What do you
time,
say? Hold on.
Mr. Walker,
What did Herschel Walker say?
Accountable. One thing I have not done, I've never pretended to be a police officer, and I've never,
This is so
never
stupid.
threatened a shootout with the police.
Well, and now I have to respond to that.
we are
No,
moving
no,
I
on.
gotta respond to
gentlemen.
that.
And you know what's so funny? I am with many police officers, and
Ah.
at the same time,
Did you wait a minute? Did you hear what I'm sorry, family. Did you hear what he said? He said, I have worked with many police officers. What? Hold on. Hold on. I'm so sorry. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Please.
Respond to that.
We are moving on,
I have to
gentlemen.
respond to that. And you know what's so funny? I am with many police officers, and at the same time,
He said, you know what's so funny? Yes, I know what's so. Go ahead. I'm gonna let him finish. I'm sorry.
Mr. Walker, Mr. Walker,
No.
Mr. Walker,
When he
Mr.
said a
Walker,
problem with
excuse
the
me,
truth-
Mr. Walker,
when he
please,
said a problem
out of
with the truth,
respect,
the truth is
I
in
need to
here.
let you know, Mr.
Yes.
Walker, you are very well
Yes.
aware of the rules tonight,
yes.
and you have a prop.
Yes.
That is not allowed, sir. I
Yes.
ask you to put that prop away.
Well, it's not a prop.
It-
This
it-
is real. And he said, I have a
But-
prop.
He
I
said-
got
Is
the law
considered a
enforcement.
prop, Mr. Walker?
She said, put that prop
You're
away.
very-
She said, put your prop away, that fake ass police badge you got from doing the Children's Police Academy police camp. She said, put your prop away. And then he said, it's not a prop, it's real. Oh,
well
God.
aware of the rules, aren't you?
Well,
Aren't you aware of the
he
rules?
brought up the truth. Let's talk about the truth.
Thank you for putting that
Yes.
prop away. And as a matter of fact, we still have a lot to get to, and we are not going to continue this. We're going to follow up with a question, and this is according to the CDC. Homicide is the leading cause of death for African American youth. Mr. Walker, in 30 seconds, why do you believe this is happening, and what would you do to stop it?
But what I would do is hold people accountable, which is Senator Warnock not doing.
Right there. Now the debate has made a turn. You see, they're not even answering the questions. Well, Warnock never did. And now they're just straight attacking, especially after they call him a fake cop. Oh gosh, I'm sorry, fam. I'm not trying to mess up the broadcast here, but man, this is why this whole debate, in my opinion, is a shame. They got a typical Democrat, no matter black, white, and then they got the lowest form, in my opinion, of intelligence to represent a black man that's running for a Senate. Lord have mercy.
Leaving in no cash bail, no accountability, that is a problem. People must be accountable for their action. And the truth lies with Senator Warnock, because he said he was going to Washington to represent Georgia. He went to Washington to represent Joe Biden. That's the reason we're in the mess we're in today, because he represents Joe Biden and not the truth for Georgia.
Senator Warnock, this follow-up for you. Same question. What do you believe homicides among African American youth is growing? Why are those homicides growing, sir? And how do we stop it?
Well, it's heartbreaking. And I've seen this up close as a pastor. I've presided over some of these funerals. I've met with
Again, not to keep pausing the fan, but I really want to point out here that again, he's using his pastorship as his shield or as verification that he's a reputable candidate to continue to be the senator of Georgia. I mean, this, when it really gets demonic to me, where people continue to recall their title to reinforce their talking points.
And we have to have rules and laws in the society, which I support and I've invested in as a legislator. At the same time, we have to create opportunity. There's no sickness like the loss of hope. When people lose hope, when they doubt that their life can be any longer or that they can dream of something bigger than the street they live on, a lot of things can happen. I grew up in one of those neighborhoods, but I had a nurturing family, and I benefited from good federal public policy, like the Head Start program, like Upward Bound, like Pell Grants and low interest student loans. And to invest in our children is to invest in our best resource.
Senator Warnock, thank you. We are moving on, gentlemen, to the next question. And this topic is about personal integrity. Buck?
We're going to shift gears a little bit here. Senator Warnock, in 2020, you tweeted this: unemployment benefits have expired, rent is due, and many Georgia families are at risk of eviction. My opponents are supposed to be serving the people in Washington, but they are clearly concerned with their own interests.
Fair use, fair
Recent
use.
reports say, talk about a property that your church owns, Columbia Towers at MLK Village in Atlanta. It's a home for the disadvantaged. At least a dozen lawsuits have been filed by residents evicted for not being able to pay their rent. Some of the outstanding balances are less than $30. Someone who receives more than $7,000 a month for a housing allowance from Ebenezer Baptist Church. How do you explain this to Georgia voters who are struggling currently to make ends meet?
Well, let me say that serving in the United States Senate and continuing to serve my church is the honor of my life. And it gives me a lens through which to do the work that I'm doing. Here's why you know I'm running against a desperate candidate. Anytime a candidate would stoop to the level of trying to sully the name.
What's important here, family, is that was a question directed at the amount of money that Raphael Warnock really obtains from his church and also being a senator. So he's getting two incomes. One on the other hand, he gets paid $7,000 from his church. They didn't really tell his Senate income per year, or his salary rather. But it is very comical that, again, he's not going to answer the question. He hasn't even started off answering the question because he doesn't want to talk about the money piece. He doesn't want to talk about that. A lot of people that's essentially part of the Black community there in Georgia are in economic deprivation. They're poor. A lot of them are homeless, and he's making $7,000 simply off a month, simply off of his church. Now, again, I've stated this before, that you take a large mega church like Bishop T.D. Jakes, Creflo Dollar, etc., they're getting paid way more than $7,000 a month. But because he is a representative, right? He's a senator of Georgia, essentially. He is making, 3, 4, 5, 8 times the amount that the same people he is saying that he's going to represent. And I think it's a really good point on how he responds, or in this particular part, how he really doesn't respond.
He and his allies to sully the name of Martin Luther King Jr.'s church.
He's bringing up Martin Luther King and everybody
John
else.
Lewis's church. You know that's a desperate candidate. Let me tell you about my church. My church is a Matthew 25 church. We spend every week, every day feeding the hungry and the homeless.
Talk about your $7,000.
They know that those false charges that they've created are not true. We stand up for poor people every single day, and I ran for the Senate to do at a policy level what we do at a local level every single day. I'm not going to be distracted by him and his allies. My people know the truth. They know the work we do every single day, and I couldn't be prouder of them. Proud to represent the Senate and proud to serve Ebenezer Baptist Church.
So just to clarify, your position is that the allegations in these lawsuits are not true?
I am saying that it is very obvious that my opponent and his allies are busy trying to sully Ebenezer Baptist Church.
Now you see the problem with the truth.
Switching gears a little bit here, sir. Your ex-wife filed a lawsuit asking for increased child support, saying that she had to pay for child care on days that your duties as a senator interfered with your parenting time, and citing significant increases in your income. In 30 seconds, what is your response to that lawsuit?
Now, this is kind of where I want to point out. I've seen many of political debates on TV, and correct me if I'm wrong. Well, essentially, give me the info that I probably desire and need to really comprehend this. When have any debate on TV ever talked about someone's personal life in such a detailed manner? I really want you to think about how we have two Black candidates and they're getting very involved in their personal life, which we know they all do in some sensitive manner, but to the level of detail where it's kind of disrespectful. During a debate, though. So this goes mostly at the moderators here, asking very particular, investigative, incriminating questions.
I went through a divorce, like a lot of people. And while that was a painful period, what came out of that was two amazing children that I just talked to before I came on the stage. And my children know that I am with them and for them. And that
He didn't answer the question. He didn't answer the question. Again, question after question, Raphael Warnock does not answer the question. No matter, he thought that it was impactful that he stated before coming onto the debate stage that he talked to his kids, where the question was about child support. Listen, family. I mean, this is the most shameful debate against two black men I've ever seen in my life. But this was all constructed by both parties. They both knew what was going to occur before it even happened.
I support them in every single way that a father does.
Thank you, Senator Warnock. Now to you, Mr. Walker. Recent ads have highlighted allegations of past domestic violence. They've raised questions about how transparent you've been as far as your resume. In 1 minute, how do you respond to voters who question your integrity, both personally and professionally?
First of all, I've been very transparent, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. And I say I had a mental problem, and I'll be a champion for mental health. Well, so many people suffer from mental health, but to have people like Senator Warnock that demonize mental health, when I want to tell everyone out there, you can get help. Don't
He doing a commercial.
Senator Warnock and his people.
In the middle of the debate, Herschel Walker did a commercial. I want to let everyone out there know that you can get help with your mental illnesses. Like, what are you talking about?
You can get help. All you got to do is ask. All you got to do is ask.
Family, is that not a commercial? I want to know if you have mental issues that anyone, you can get help. But listen, Lord.
You just saw it. You just saw it because he won't answer that about evicting the people from the church. And I told him I will pay I'll pay their salary. You're evicting them right now.
We have not.
No. Okay. All my non-black listeners, listen. Black people are very intelligent. We are super intelligent, but sometimes it's very difficult for us to say certain things. Wait a minute. He just said, first of all, oh my God, let me break this down. He just said that he's going to pay the church people that he evicted salaries. Who's living at church? Number one, what homeless people salaries? What are you talking about? This is gonna give me a brain as yo. Check this out.
Evicted. We have not evicted those.
I didn't write the article.
I didn't write the article.
He said, I don't like to argue. Nigga, you in a debate. You are in a debate. It is an argument. You're in an argument. He said he don't like to argue. You're in a moderated argument. It's a debate. This is what whoo. I'm not trying to give you guys antics on camera. This is how I was reacting when I listened to this off camera. Yo, I'm just like, wow.
Most of the people out there still my time.
I'm okay with the discussion if we start talking over each other.
We have not evicted the tenants,
Senator.
And he should take that money and pay it back to the veterans that he exploited.
And see, you can tell that he's not desperate, because if he had read in that thing, he would have saw that I had nothing to do with that. But he is so desperate right now. He really wants that seat. He's now telling you, I didn't evict anyone. It is written in the paper. I didn't do this. Well, Senator, you did. And it's okay to speak the truth. Do not bear false witness, Senator. Do not bear false witness.
Mr. Walker,
why Herschel Walker saw smiling like he said something profound because he's a pastor? Don't bear false witness now. Don't bear false witness. I got his ass, didn't I? Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna read some of your comments here, family. I have to calm down. Whew. We got Thompson Trump going back to what qualified immunity being wiped away, and how the doctrine that allows the ATF makes their own definitions and regulation without Congress approval. He also states back in Philly, May 13th, 85, Waco, Ruby Ridge took away my faith in any government or law enforcement agencies. Yes, Focus Williams, you know me, brother. This is laughable. This is shameful, though, right? Because these debates the whole entire world can see. And I know intelligent Black people from around the world like, what the hell is going on in Georgia? Kane says, yes, healthcare needs to be addressed. If there's any lack of mercy for Blacks or any people of color, it's healthcare system. Jay the informant, you good. You pause, lest they're making lose the TVA. Chevron, difference with the legal power that ATF has to make and change the definition without consent of Congress. Also, it's when you get a chance to sit down and chat. There's new crypto. Yeah, I know about that one. Yeah, family. Let me see what Shirley says here. She said white people in Georgia banned using Black people for years to persuade other Black people that white people is good people. Way back then, they used Black people to help kidnap Black people from Africa. Absolutely. They continue to use Black straw men in the system of white supremacy. So I know exactly what you're talking about. Let me continue on here. Thank you, Jermaine Anderson, for being on the job, brother. Appreciate you.
Just moving, I want to follow up with you. You have been very open on your, Mr. Senator Warnock, we need to move forward here. You have been very open about your struggles with mental illness, and you even wrote a book about your diagnosis of dissociative identity disorder. You recently asked if you were still receiving treatment, and this is what you had to say.
No, that's all done, and you don't need to. That's why I tell people. I think one thing I told people is I've been open about it, and I was open about it, 14 years ago.
Mr. Walker, in 30 seconds, can you clarify this? Are you saying you no longer have dissociative identity disorder, or is this something that you continue to this day to manage?
No, you don't have to have treatment for it. And I encourage people to continue to talk to people. I talk to my pastors. and I continue to get.
I don't know if I can finish. I mean, these are two Black men that's representing, unfortunately, Black people in America. And he said, you don't need treatment for dissociative identity disorder. You don't need any treatment. He just talked to his pastors. He probably was talking to Senator Warnock before he came on stage. And then debated against him, which is not an argument because he don't like to argue. I'm sorry. What the hell is going on in Georgia, bruh? What is going on? You know what? Black people in Georgia, I feel for you. You have no representation for you in the Senate. None.
Help if I need help. But I don't need any help. I'm doing well. But that's the reason why I tell anyone out there that is suffering from any type of mental illness, you can get help. All you got to do is ask.
He did another commercial. He said, just want to let everybody know you can get help. The only thing you need to do is ask. You know what? I'm missing football today, but man, this is worth it. You know, laugh is good for the soul. It's good for your spirit, family. Oh, gosh. That's right, Wells. That's right. Oh, my God. Ooh. Jay the informant said his pastor, Jesse Lee Peterson, call in Monday through Friday. Oh, my gosh. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay, I'm good. All right.
Always be a champion for mental health.
Just to clarify, how can Georgia voters, though, be assured that this will not impact your ability to lead if elected?
Because I'm ready to lead today. I'm ready to vote with the Georgia voters, whereas Senator Warnock has voted with Joe Biden 96% of the time.
You tell him, Herschel.
Georgia voters today.
Thank you, gentlemen. We'll move on to our next topic. Tina?
And that topic, gentlemen, is health insurance. Georgia is one of 12 states that have not accepted federal funding to expand Medicaid under the Affordable Care Act. Mr. Walker, with more than 1.5 million Georgians uninsured, in 1 minute, is it time for the federal government to step in to ensure all Georgians have access to health care?
Well, right now, people have coverage for health care. It's according to what type of coverage do you want. Because if you have...
Okay, all right. Okay. She's talking about health care. He said everybody has coverage. It just depends on what coverage you have. I'm going to back it up, and we're going to listen to it very intentfully. I want to make sure I get this right. And of course, what I'm about to, here we go.
Mr. Walker, with more than 1.5 million Georgians uninsured, in 1 minute, is it time for the federal government to step in to ensure all Georgians have access to health care?
Well, right now, people have coverage for health care.
Okay, I couldn't do it. She said over 1.5 million of citizens of Georgia does not have health care. And what you're going to do about it, basically. And he said, right now, people have health care. The 1.5 million who are uninsured without health care, or people who have health care? What? Let's listen.
What type of coverage do you want? Because if you have an able...
What type of, wait a minute. First they have healthcare coverage, then it depends on what type of coverage do you want? You know what? If you don't drink alcoholic beverages, please just have a little sip on me. Just use me as the excuse. That's the only way we're going to get through this.
By the job, you're going to have health care. But everyone else have health care is the type of health care you're going to get. And I think that is...
What? He said everybody has health care, just depends on what type of health. I'm gone. You know what? I'm out. I can't do it no more. I can't. I can't do it no more, family. Oh my God. What the hell is this man talking about? Hold on. Maybe he's having some relapses from his dissociative identity disorder. I don't know. Maybe. I'm just saying maybe. Hold on. Ooh, Lord have mercy.
Ensure all Georgians have access to health care?
Well, right now, people have coverage for health care. It's according to what type of coverage do you want. Because if you have an able-bodied job, you have...
What? Okay, I'm not trying to get stuck here, but damn it, I might have to just end it here because she stated that 1.5 million of Georgians do not have health care. He said people have health care. It's just about what type of coverage do you want? I could probably reason with that.
Healthcare. Everyone else have healthcare is...
But everyone else has healthcare? But what are you talking about? There's only two types, right? When we're talking about the uninsured and the insured. And that's what she's referring to. What is he talking about? Everybody in Georgia has healthcare? So disregard the people who don't have health care. I know people who does not have health care. What is he talking about? Shit.
Type of health care you're going to get. And I think that is the problem. And what Senator Warnock wants you to do is depend on the government. What I want you to do is get off the government health care and get on the health care he's got to get you a better health care. So that's what I'm trying to do, to make you independent rather than dependent.
Thank you, Mr. Walker.
And the problem, family, is that he really thought he said something profound. That's the problem here, family. He really thought he said something profound. There's a very distinctive look that we all have when we really think we said something profound, whether you know it or not. And at the end of his segment here, look at his face when he turns to Raphael Warnock. It's the funniest thing. My wife and I, man, we laughed our ass off yesterday because the way he looked is one of those look like, I really said some good shit right here. He said, watch it for yourself and tell me what you think. Please.
Have health care is the type of health care you're going to get. And I think that is the problem. And what Senator Warnock wants you to do is depend on the government. What I want you to do is get off the government health care and get on the health care he's got to get you a better health care.
Herschel, he's a senator. He has government health care. You can't make it up. You cannot make this shit up, family. They got an incompetent fool to represent them because they know that they can use him if he wins. Even if he loses, they still win. Because they understand if Herschel Walker wins, we can use him. If Herschel Walker loses, then we'll get no other white people to support a black candidate. It's a win-win situation for the Republicans. But listen to this, please, again, focus on his look after he finished speaking here. Please look very distinctively.
So that's what I'm trying to do, to make you independent rather than dependent.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. Senator Warnock.
Did you see it? I can't make this up.
You have 1 minute. You've vowed to close the Medicaid gap by expanding access coverage in the Affordable Care Act marketplace. So this comes with a $50 billion price tag, national debt already at an all-time high. Where is this money coming from? You have 60 seconds, sir.
This is not a theoretical issue for me. When I think about healthcare, I think about Lori Davis, a trauma nurse in Covington, Georgia.
He's going to beat around the bush, family, just to let you know.
And then she got sick and she had to give up that job. And as she got sicker and sicker, she found herself without health care. She was one of the 600,000 Georgians in the Medicaid gap. She died for lack of health care. And so I ran saying that I would fight to expand Medicaid. Georgia needs to expand Medicaid. It costs us more not to expand. What we're doing right now is we're subsidizing health care in other states. Meanwhile, we've seen 10 hospitals in this state close, 10. And the Atlanta Medical Center right down the street from my church, where I visit my members, has announced that it's going to close. And so Georgia needs a senator who believes, like I do, that health care is a human right. And I will continue to fight until the working class people, by the way, the folks who don't have health care, they work every single day.
Family, I try to tell you here, I try to really keep it together, but as I listen to this debate, and a lot of you, again, what I want to point out is that one can complete a sentence and the other can't. And when I think about this race, there's only one thing to truly describe what this race is to me. What you're about to see, family, is something that you've probably never seen before. Because this is the only true way that I can explain this debate of Georgia. The first person you see in this next video is Raphael Warnock. The second person that comes inside of the same video is Herschel Walker. And then all of this will make sense. This debate will make sense after you see this video. Then I'll cover your comments.
Lord!
I saw you when you stepped into the club.
Warnock got the purple pants on. And look at her, she walking with the tie-dye bodysuit on.
Come through. That's what I know. Come through.
Democrats in purple, Republicans in yellow.
I'm looking at you and you looking at me. What your name is?
Hey!
Bam!
Get it, girl. When I think about the Georgia debate against Raphael Warnock, family, this is the only thing that I can see right here. This is the only thing that I can see. Hey. Yes.
I saw you when you stepped into the club.
Okay, family. Okay.
When you walk, Mr. Pooh! Mr. Pooh!
Unfortunately, that's the only thing I can think of, family. When it comes to politics, I know a lot of you are well studied when it comes to politics. You guys understand how things are ran. And then there's some of you as well that may not understand the true essence of politics, that how certain legislation can shape life in America. And we have to understand it doesn't matter, especially when it comes to some very important things in the Black community. It doesn't matter the color of someone's skin, because if a white man, Hispanic man, Asian man, Indian man signs the executive order, signs the legislation for reparations that gives each foundational Black American U.S. freedman, and I'm just going to go on a lowball number, $365,000, meaning you heard the term, cut the check, then that's who we should vote for, in my opinion. Because yes, when we go out and vote, certain legislation are going to help people. But the question that you may have, is it going to help you? Is it going to help your people? Is it going to help your family? And time again, both political parties have shown us that they're not going to help neither one of us, because they know we're not unified. They use politics as division. They use religion as division. They use income class as division. They use your intelligence level as division. Let me see what you guys are saying over here. What's going on, Cyrus? Nice to see you. Will said God is disappointed. He is talking nonsense. Jay the Foreman said, is Stacey having a debate? I don't have that information yet, Jay, but I'm gonna go off on a limb here and say nothing can be worse than that debate. I mean, again, Stacey Abrams, in my opinion, is a Democratic shield. So it's gonna be very, very similar to Warnock, meaning she's going to avoid asking questions, giving very concrete answers. So don't look for that. But who knows? At this point in life, family, if reparations are not on the table, and, okay, not with the exception, we're not replacing, and wiping away qualified immunity, then if you were to ask, you think I should vote? No. No. And I stated this before, when people tell you that if you don't vote, you don't have a voice, I'm just here to let you know, once you vote, you don't have a voice. You don't have a voice, because what they tend to do is both parties play each other against each other. Democrats display the Republicans as racist, and the Republicans, since they kind of let the Democrats get away with that, display the Democrats as being incompetent. But the funny thing about that is both of them are racist as hell. There's no one is higher than the other. Both of them are exactly the same. They just say it differently. They just do it differently. See, what we notice is that Republicans, they say a lot of racist stuff, But when I looked at Donald Trump's track record, he didn't sign any racist legislation that essentially directly hurt black people. We went over Obama plenty of times here. He signed that blue bill with the police that essentially indirectly harm black people, because we know how we get wrongfully, wrongfully convicted, wrongfully accused. So these are just some of the things that you guys should think about. And this is why I don't sway to the left or the right or any political party, because I know that neither one are essentially for us. Our even Congressional Black Caucus is not for us. Why would I continue to support a party that doesn't support me, whether they be Democrats or Republican? We're going to have to start voting on power. We're going to have to start being very selfish in the way we vote, because we have not been. We've been voting for everyone else except for our own self-interest. And then we have a part of our community say, well, when certain people get their reparations, they're going to go out and buy expensive cars and jewelry and rims. So what? So what? When you go to your job and earn your paycheck, nobody's telling you how to spend your money. But here's the problem with both parties understand. If black people get reparations in the form of a check, that is going to be enough of us that build a black enterprise and stop buying from other organizations. I know a lot of us wear a lot of Nike apparel, and I'm not anti-Nike. But we heard the racist rhetoric that came out the Nike camp in the past couple of years. We heard about it. And yeah, I have a couple of Nikes. I still wear Nikes. I'm not boycotting Nike. I'm not stating that, even though that could be a good idea. But they understand once we get reparations, the business minded of us are going to build a black enterprise where we build a black economic system where we're going to have our own businesses and we're going to buy from us. And that $1 that only stays 6 seconds in the black community, that $1 would now stay 30 minutes, an hour circulating in the black community, thus building wealth, generational wealth, just as other groups in this country has done. And matter of fact, like this shirt, Actively Black, I go on side of their website, and I'm not promoting them. I'm not getting paid from them for this, but their quality is equal or greater than that of Nike, and it's a black-owned business. Just wanted to point that out. CBC will 2 and 66. Okay. What if a random black man soon as state for reparation? How do you think that will result on the large population? What if a random black man soon as a state for reparation? I'm not understanding the question, JD Informant. But nonetheless, family, here, I've been here for quite some time here, and hopefully for you guys just joining in, go ahead and rewind the video here. And we're just kind of doing a very brief breakdown. It's more like a comical session, which is shameful when you're talking about two gentlemen running for the Senate seat in Georgia. But this is just not about the state of Georgia, family. It's by the entire nation. What if a random black man sue as a state for reparation? How do you think that will result on the large population? Well, that's already occurring in some states. There have been some people, reparational organizations trying to sue the state. We've seen a lot of state essentially come to the table for reparations. And what we're trying to get is a federal legislation that pays out to foundational Black Americans reparations. Right? Because there's so many parties involved in this. And just like the government doing anything else when they pay out civil suits, they pay you out and then they go get the money from that organization and or independent entities. So anyway, family, I had a lot more to say here, but I'm just going to end it here because it goes down a rabbit hole from there. It only gets worse. It only gets worse. And until we understand that your vote, in some sense, the most powerful political tool that you can ever harness, that you can ever have, and you continue to give away your power, because they will use these terms. If you don't vote, you don't have a voice. And I want you to ask yourself once this question. If you go ahead and vote and there's nothing on the table for you, your family, or the Black community, did you just give away your voice? Or if you believe a good percentage of us, a good large amount of us in the Black community in the United States of America hold our vote, not vote, hold our vote until they put in black and white what they will do if they assume office, then they can obtain our vote. That's power. And they understand unity is power. That's why they try to speak to the Black community. That's what Herschel Walker was stating, that there's more abortions in Atlanta. And Atlanta simply means Black people city, right? Certain cities, Chicago, Baltimore, and Atlanta are predominantly Black. So they understand by saying that they're speaking to Black people, or they're talking about Black people. And we have to stop falling for the trick bag. We cannot repeat the same mistakes as previous generations, like the baby boomers. Those people who are in Generation X, the millennials, and those who are of voting age, we cannot continue to make the same mistakes. Yeah, there's going to be one or two things that they're going to push that you may be behind, but you have to see the overall picture. You have to understand the grand scheme of things. We can't just be voting to vote. They can't use the old terminology, the old saying of our ancestors died for us to vote. No, they fought and died for us to have the right to vote, because voting is a choice. They have yet, and the reason why I say that, because someone actually, I believe there was a Republican, I don't know if he was Republican or Democrat, but he was in a high form of government, and he stated pushing mandates and making it, pushing a law, making every citizen vote. No, it's not mandatory. You don't have to vote. It's a choice. And that's what our people died for, the right to vote. Because everyone else, all these other groups out here, get exactly what they want from this government. And it's coming out of their tax dollars as well as your tax dollars. But when you look at all these other groups and they're getting exactly what they want, and you continue to vote and you're getting nothing of what you want, then why in the hell are you doing that? You guys have a great and wonderful day. Thank you for joining me here this evening. You guys have a good night. I'm out.